the safety tips to make sure you don't hurt yourself, damage your meter, or damage any equipment. First of all, you turn on your meter, but you wouldn't have to. If you're going to be measuring voltage, ohms, diodes, capacitors, or continuity, you would have your positive lead put directly into the main input for those functions, which is this input right here. You would put the black lead or the negative lead in the general ground, which is normally here for this meter. If you're measuring amperage, you would put the negative lead into here for 400 milliamps. If you know you're measuring 400 milliamps, you've calculated. But if you don't know if you're measuring 400 milliamps, or if you're measuring above that, typically you would connect it to the 10 amp range. But then, to measure amperage, you would have to connect your negative lead into the port dedicated for current. This is to make sure you don't damage your meter. Okay, you also have to make sure you're measuring the proper range. So if you're measuring amperage for AC or DC, you want to check if you're on milliamps or 10 amps. Also, if you're measuring current, you definitely don't want to connect it directly to a power source, such as this one right here. Since the current meter basically has 0 ohms, that means there would be infinite or as much current as this power supply can handle. So if it's more than 10 amps and you don't have it on that range, you will break blow a fuse, which then you would have to replace. Or you could set a meter on fire. For voltage, there's basically you can't really damage anything, but you can still cause problems. As in, you're connecting it to too high of a voltage and not high enough range. Okay. Also, you will want to make sure you're on the right setting, because if you're on ohms and you connect it directly to a power supply, you're going to destroy the meter. If you have it on same if you have it on current, you're measuring on source voltage. Okay. Generally, if you have a circuit built, you do not and you have the meter connected, you do not want to connect your meter until you checked everything, because you can accidentally break your meter if you connect it in an undesired way. Stop.
Alright, next we're going to be measuring resistance. Now first you have to turn on your meter. After you turn on your meter, you make sure that your leads are in the correct spots to measure resistance. You find the ohm symbol and press it to measure resistance. Now over here, it's very simple to measure resistance, unlike voltage and current. You get one lead and you put it on the left side of the resistor. You take the other lead and you put it on the other side of the resistor. Now in this case, this is a 1.96 mega ohm resistor. Now, unlike analog, this one has auto range, which is very simple to use, and it automatically measures resistance.
Multimeter. Trainer. You turn on your multimeter. Okay. Make sure the leads are right in the right ports. The black or negative lead being the general ground. And the positive lead, or the red or positive lead, in the input that deals with voltage. Okay. So you would put it on DC voltage if you're measuring DC voltage. AC voltage if you're measuring AC. Okay. So, it's auto range, so no matter what voltage, you would most likely turn to it. After you checked everything, you turn it on, and you'd put the the red, or positive lead, to the positive side of the resistor and the negative on the other side. As you see, there's 1.33 volts on that resistor. This voltage being adjustable here. If you're measuring AC voltage, it's a little different, but the only difference is you're pressing AC. Okay.
All right. Next we're gonna be measuring current. Now, first you have to set up the meter to measure current. You have to take the red lead and put it in the 400 milliamp slot. Only if you know that it's under 400 milliamps. But if you don't know, to be more safe than sorry, you put in the 10 amps. Now, also, we have to move the black lead over to measure amps. And also, we have to pick DC current or AC current. In this case, it's DC current. And we have to select milliamps. Now, over here, to measure current, we would have to break the circuit and connect the red lead, the positive lead, directly to the source to positive. Then we would put the negative in place next to the resistor. Then we would turn it on and measure whatever amps and current there is.